What's going on, y'all? I decided I'm gonna give a breakdown on different things that are socialized in toxic masculinity. Because people just think I be going on these rants and it's just me speaking out the side of my butt. And no, let's talk about it. So, one aspect of toxic masculinity socialization that is unfortunately something that is pretty much common taught with cis males in particular. But when you look at how masculinity is framed and the ideologies and beliefs and behaviors and actions and words that go along with the toxic masculinity and the socialization, is the manipulation aspect of it. I'll give a few examples. Cis boys, cis men, cis males are literally socialized to not be honest, not be straightforward, not be truthful. This is where the whole spitting game comes from, because the whole point is you're lying, you're manipulating, you are using coercion and misleading people to get things that you want out of them. And when we're talking about spitting game, 9 times out of 10, we're talking about a guy who is talking a bunch of bullshit just so he can get inside of your pants. Whole time, he doesn't even really like you. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't want anything to do with you. He doesn't want a committed relationship. He doesn't want a title, but he'll sit around and fake like he's a caring, loving individual. He's pretty much the knight in shining armor and all of that BS. Whole time, this is just an act until he gets what he wants, which in this example, we're talking about sex. So technically, in many ways, the person didn't really consent to sex with you. You manipulated them into having sex with you. You guys literally come in with these fake personalities and personas, and it's literally being socialized into cis men, cis boys, cis males. This is what we mean by toxic masculinity. It's literally being socialized to lie, to tell all of these lies to get whatever. If you got to lie about this and lie about that. And that's why a lot of these guys, when you meet them, they're habitual pathological liars. Because literally that's what they've been socialized to do their entire life. This is why when you're listening to people who are in their 30s, I'm just going to say it. I'm 31 and a half, nearly 32, Lord willing, ancestors willing, universe willing, okay? God willing. I'm 31 and a half. So at this age, if you meet, and I'm just going to say it, in my opinion, if you meet a cis male and they're 30 and up, please believe that this pattern of behavior is who they always were. Because again, they've been doing this for how long? So this is why they have to do all these games. This is how people end up in these fake ass placeholder situations that they didn't sign up for, because you've been manipulated, you've been breadcrumbed, you've been led on. And this is something that they do. And they're socialized to do this. This is what I mean by there's no straightforward communication. There's no honesty, you know. And then on the flip side, I'm going to call it toxic femininity, which to me is literally a byproduct of toxic masculinity, because in the sense you're teaching the cis males to not be truthful and to lie and manipulate and say one thing and do the exact opposite, literally have a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and Dr. Jekyll personality. Like literally they put on fake personas. But then the toxic femininity piece of this is then you're socializing cis females, cis women, cis girls. You're socializing them to be overly forthcoming, to be too straight to the point, to literally empty everything that they've got going on inside out into the world, and then wonder why when they do it, it's used against them later by who? The people who have been socialized to be manipulative. So literally, it's like, you know, it's and then not know how to speak up for yourself, because this also rolls in with the toxic masculinity and toxic femininity. Women aren't really taught or not socialized to speak up for themselves. They're socialized to follow after men. And then this is why a lot of rape culture people are like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening and this has been going on for forever. Because we've literally been living in a society that has been socializing cis males to think lying, cheating, pilfering their way is the way to be a man. That's what being masculine is about. This is why we're spitting game in our 30s and 40s instead of just keeping it honest. And then when you manipulate people, you're literally misleading them down the wrong road, and you're not giving them consent because they didn't get the option to make a clear and conscious choice. They were misled by you. So this is why they take your consent away. Meanwhile, you can best believe they know what consent means when it comes to them, but when it comes to you, it's very blurred. And again, this is just one of the many examples, in my opinion, of just the toxic ways. Like, literally, notice how they're also socialized to treat women based on what they can get, right? So, like, if he finds you attractive, he's going to be nice to you for the most part. He's going to go above and beyond, especially if he thinks that he's going to get an opportunity to have sex. Now, this isn't all cis men, this isn't all cis males, but when we're talking about how toxic masculinity, patriarchy, misogyny, sexism, etc., as a framework of socialization, this isn't all cis males, but overwhelmingly, there's a lot of cis males who behave this way. Okay, if he thinks he's got a shot at getting sex with you, or he likes you, he's going to go above and beyond. But the minute you put forth boundaries, all of a sudden, here comes the switch up, because that was a fake personality to begin with. He was never really that nice. Again, this is why a lot of people are always like, oh my God, at the end of the situation, I couldn't believe he was like that, because when I first met him, exactly, because he's faking it. He's been socialized to think that nobody's going to like him if he is honest. And that's just it. If cis males were honest, a lot more people would be able to say no and not participate in shit that they didn't really sign up for, but were manipulated and coerced into later. But then, like I said, the toxic femininity part is also cis women, cis girls, cis females being socialized to be very trustworthy, to the point where, like, you're not putting any type of second guess to see if this person is actually for real. Does their actions match their words? No, you're just giving trust to give trust, and then getting fucked over at the end because you don't have boundaries. Because again, when you look at how toxic femininity is a byproduct of toxic masculinity, cis women and girls are literally taught not to have boundaries at all. They're supposed to just allow any and everybody to take, do whatever they want to them, because how dare you speak up? Like I said, because you're also not socialized to put yourself first, so therefore, you're also not socialized how to speak up for yourself. Okay, this is why a lot of shit ends up sliding that shouldn't slide, you know? But anyways, these are just a few examples. I'm going to do more videos like this because I think a lot of people need to see what we're talking about instead of us always talking about it from an academic framework. Because let's be honest, yes, those are nice words and definitions and terminology, but what's the real life implication? How does this impact you day to day? So people, in my opinion, need to see and hear about examples of what it is in lifetime. Because again, people are just socializing their kids to be monsters. And then people are wondering why it's always a particular demographic that's committing all of these problems. And then everyone's just like, well, why are cis men so violent? You're socializing them to be this way. And why are cis women always falling victim or becoming survivors of abuse? Because they're literally socialized this way. Again, you're creating problems, and it starts at home, okay? You don't gotta lie to kick it, Craig, if y'all remember Friday. But anyways, you really don't have to lie. And then here's the thing. If the person doesn't want you or doesn't want what you want, or they don't like you for you, then accept it. They don't have to like you for you. They don't have to want to have sex with you or be in a relationship with you. They don't have to like you back. Accept rejection. And at the same time, why would you want to be around somebody that has already told you they're not interested in you? Or has already told you no to having sex? Or whatever. This is what I mean by cis males need to also learn how to be comfortable with hearing no, with being rejected. Because that's also the problem. This sitting up killing people because somebody doesn't want to go on a date with you. This raping and sexually assaulting people because you don't want to ask for consent to have sex in the first place. And then with toxic femininity, you're so conditioned to not say anything to speak up for yourself. And it's like, again, people will feel they're being coerced or they can feel the manipulation, but because they're socialized, they think it's normal. This is just how things are. No, this is how things have been socialized to be. Again, this is all a social construction made up by the people in that society. We can make changes for the better if we want to.